Yeah, I think that's a great fight to happen. I think she's called for it, the fans called for it. You can see it across Twitter where he's saying, like, one of the dream fights they want to see is White House, myself, and Dakota. And that's a huge bucket list item to be able to do, like, fight in front of the president in the White House. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? And I think that Dakota and I both have the skills, the excitement to bring it, to showcase everything everybody wants to see and make that the fight.
Liz Carmouche just dropped a F***King bombshell on Dakota Ditcheva. The seasoned pioneer, who won the 2025 PFL Championship, is going straight after the monster rather than calling out simple fights. And in her own words, the hype train for Break Dakota Ditcheva includes her arrival.
If I think I maybe pick my next opponent, probably Dakota.
After winning, Liz didn't think twice about taking a bold stance. The unbeatable, violent Cinderella herself, Dakota Ditcheva, was called out by her. Her words, "Fans want this fight. She will prove that no amount of hoopla can win this battle," which is precisely what the PFL needs. Let's be truthful. This is surprising in part because Dakota Ditcheva seems untouchable. Anderson Silva knees and Amanda Nunes level violence are being utilized to obliterate opponents. Nobody has managed to persevere. Nobody has made it out alive. In fact, they admitted that Dakota ended my career. That's why 40-year-old trailblazer Liz Carmouche stated, "I'll break the hype." That is more than just confidence. That is either underscore madness or legendary bravery. On one side is Liz Carmouche, a trailblazer, a survivor, a former Bellator champion, a challenger for the UFC belt, and a recent victor of the PFL tournament. She has fought in battles, escaped assassination, and survived. Conversely, Dakota Ditcheva was undefeated, eliminating all opponents in a single round and leaving behind dead bodies. The ultimate generational clash is this one. A battle between the old guard and the new terror. Liz didn't just call out this fight. Necessary, she replied. She's right. The PFL women's flyweight category does not require filler fights. It is not required to have mismatches. It calls for the biggest, bloodiest fight they can organize. That concludes Ditcheva. Carmouche, unbeaten against an experienced opponent. Legend versus rising monster. Anything less seems pointless. The following factors make this struggle frightening. Because, if Dakota loses, Liz Carmouche is handing her legacy off with a silver platter. However, if she succeeds, she will be the first woman to derail the hype train. She was the first woman to show that Dakota Ditcheva is not invincible. A person's career is permanently changed in either scenario. Keep in mind that the UFC is observing. Dana White says Amanda Nunes recently retired. He just watched Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko battle to a tie. Meanwhile, Dakota Ditcheva is murdering all of the PFL members here. If she loses to Carmouche, the UFC division is secure. However, if Dakota destroys Liz Carm in the same manner that she has destroyed everyone else, then Dana White's divisions among women are officially underscore. Liz Carmouche has made a startling revelation. What she wants is Dakota Ditcheva. She declares, "I'll break the hype," but here's the question. Is this the beginning of the end for her? Or is this the bravest call out of her career? Because when you put Dakota Ditcheva in a cage, nobody survives.
Headline, I think that'd be amazing. I think when Dakota's healthy, I would love a chance to be able to fight Dakota.
One of the dream fights they want to see is White House, myself, and Dakota. And that's a huge bucket list item to be able to do, like fight in front of the president in the White House. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? And I think that Dakota and I both have the skills and the excitement to bring it, to showcase everything that everybody wants to see and make that the fight people see.
She could start asserting some dominance on this round, in my opinion. Oh, long time, Biggers. Bishop's in bed. Stop. And Liz Carmouche pounds out a world tournament victory.
Underscore bombshell was just dropped by Liz Carmouche at the 9th PFL World Tournament. Following her brutal TKO victory, the 41-year-old veteran took the mic and criticized Dakota Ditcheva, the PFL's undefeated Golden Queen. Then she went on. Carmouche demanded that the PFL establish a new women's bantamweight division so that he could battle Dakota at 135 pounds in a super fight. This is huge. Criticizing the unbeaten PFL player that everyone believes in is a 41-year-old legend. Is the future of women's MMA? First, let's look at what happened inside the cage. Gina Bishop and Carmouche went to war. It wasn't easy at first, but Bishop nearly tapped her with multiple submissions. Liz delved deep, as legends do. The third round concluded with ground and pound as she dropped Bishop like a stone and fractured her with a brutal counter left hook. Not only did Carmouche win the 2025 PFL Women's Flyweight Tournament, but her prowess also earned her a fat check for $500,000. The strange portion follows. Liz, 41, is 12-1 since leaving the UFC, has won 3 titles in a row, and is adding titles to her resume. However, the knockout did not shock the MMA community. It was a cry out. Liz made it clear that she wanted the PFL to have a bantamweight class, 135 pounds in weight. For the first time, who would she like to fight? Dakota Ditcheva. Think about this. Carmouche was the last Bellator flyweight champion, a current PFL tournament winner, and a former UFC title contender. She has already defeated the best of her generation. Instead of coasting, she's pursuing Dakota, the next great thing. Since Dakota hasn't lost, there is total chaos. 12-0 is being praised as the PFL equivalent of Valentina Shevchenko. This is when the dispute begins. Carmouche is enjoying one of her best career runs at the age of 41. In contrast, Dakota is at the peak of her skills as a striker, and her highlight. Real knockouts have fans comparing her to Amanda Nunes and Valentina. Is Liz aiming for greatness, or is she just going to feed the younger lion?
Has really gotten behind your teammate Dakota Ditcheva. First off, what do you think of her performances so far this year?
Oh, she's a killer. She's a killer. She's the future of MMA, and I think that she's only getting better. She's young, she's hungry, she's disciplined, she's motivated. She's got a good head on her shoulder.
Remember that Dakota would kill Valentina Shevchenko in 15 seconds, according to Kayla Harrison. In essence, Karras is now offering to place himself in that circumstance. This fight at 135 might alter the women's game, but it could also become ugly very soon. Don't forget that Liz Carmouche is already breaking new ground. The first female fighter in the UFC back in 2013 against former Bellator champion Ronda Rousey, who had 3 title defenses. At the moment, the PFL tournament winner has $500,000 in their bank account. The legends have faced her, but calling Dakota out shows that she is doing more than just rehashing the past. She wants to ruin the future. This is a legacy conversation. GOAT talk is what it is. But this is a gift for Dakota as well. Imagine challenging and defeating Carmouche, the main attraction, and becoming the PFL Women's Division's leader. Dakota Ditcheva is now in charge following Liz Carmouche's startling admission at the PFL World Tournament 9. Will this 135-pound super fight be permitted by the PFL? Will Dakota and Karras rise to the occasion? At what point does a legendary run encounter the brick wall of an unconquered monster? Unquestionably, this is the conflict that nobody expected, but that everyone is now anxious to see. Comment below. Will Liz Carmouche have a shot, or will Dakota run her over like everyone else? Make sure to like, subscribe, and return often because this story will only get stranger. Dakota stopped freaking out. Recently, Eva disclosed something that nobody had expected. Weeping in the cage following yet another resounding triumph. And it wasn't joy. It irritated me. It was painful. It also acted as a warning to the UFC. I don't know.
Look up to her a lot. I still want to be in her position and be able to beat someone like her.
This is about legacy versus legacy to be. Valentine is among the most adaptable competitors in MMA history. She studies the code of your opponents, downloads your game in real time, and exploits the first flaw she finds. Dakota Valentina might get off early due to her unusual rhythmic hitting. Long knees, feints, and odd-angled switch kicks. But this is when Reggie starts to show his true self. Dakota still needs more 5-round reps. She can go a little more slowly. Valentina is the queen of championship round modifications. Imagine, however, a well-tuned Dakota with championship-level cardio and sophisticated counter-wrestling. If she beat Shevchenko, especially by spectacular knockout, it wouldn't just be an upset. It would immediately establish Dakota as a household figure and make her to become a household name overnight. We're talking about late-night appearances, global endorsements, and other stuff. Everyone is anticipating the moment of the rocket ship. Besides, it would ink her GOAT application forever. Music claps. Dakota Ditcheva. 0 losses, 15 wins. One of the most exciting, undefeated fighters in MMA. She essentially defeated Sumiko Inaba in PFL Africa by using strength, style, and complete control. Dakota, on the other hand, was not celebrating, but crying. "I think I have pain in my left hand." Even more devastated to be harmed again after being away for so long. Her eyes showed it clearly. Rather than breaking her hand, Dakota broke inside. This was supposed to be her moment, her return. Instead, she is left with a shattered hand, suffering, and further hospital stays. Let's talk about the facts as well. Fans have been begging for Dakota in the UFC. Laura Senko says she is the violent Cinderella who can save the women's division as a whole. But the UFC seems to have been dropped recently.
Come back, what are you looking forward to?
I mean, I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to a great...
Precisely. She stayed on her ship. She stepped up her efforts. After what she calls a great agreement, Dakota recently stepped down from the PFL. But what some fans are referring to as a disproportionate 15-0 worldwide fan base highlights real knockouts and no octagon debut. Is loyalty or money on the line here? Is the UFC disregarding her? Or did PFL sponsor the BRINK's vehicle?
About, as she's like, she's not a complete fighter, is she? I'm not a complete fighter. She definitely isn't either, so, but whatever.
In addition, Dakota destroyed Tyler Santos in November of 2012. A UFC veteran got knocked out as though she didn't belong. She was hurt after that and disappeared for several months. Just as the excitement was beginning to grow, it's back. The same story. Another injury, another delay. Some fans are starting to wonder if Dangerous Dakota is doomed. But there's a chance that this ISIL facets of the play. PFL is the owner of the funds. Dakota has the look, reputation, and inclination to commit murder. Could she act as a PFL representative? Was she capable of greater heat than Harrison and more damage than Cyborg? She wants to build her kingdom the way she sees fit. However, this might turn into the most important hypothetical situation in women's mixed martial arts if Dakota keeps getting hurt and the UFC door stays locked. Dakota Diva just cried out in triumph. She recently resigned from her position at the company that isn't giving her a stage in the UFC. She also warned the public that she may not be able to compete again due to her injury, but she will not be. Going back, she's here to kill. Dana White needs to be ready because the violent Cinderella doesn't want a glass slipper. She wants blood.
Because there's one name that I am dying to see in the UFC, and that's Dakota Ditcheva.
What a fighter.
Yeah.
What a fighter.
Talk about the women's
Can you imagine her
division needing a superstar, and talk about a perfectly packaged, talented, gorgeous, eloquent, respectful, good, like literally checks every single box, and she's right there, and she
I'm here with a dangerous Dakota Ditcheva. First question I have to ask, how's the left hand? We saw you shaking it out in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, I think I've injured my left arm, but I think I'm just more gutted because I've been out for so long, and then I've come back and
I'm injured again, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Thank you so much.
This crowd behind you from start to finish, how did that feel, especially in that third round when you were hurting?
Guys, I just want to say that was the best walkout I've ever had, so thank you so much.
Before we get you in the back, I have to know, what does the future hold for you? I know you have to heal up, but when you come back, what are you looking forward to?
I mean, I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to a great agreement, and I'm going to look forward to the next few years together. So hopefully we can carry on bringing crowds like this, because you guys really set a standard. So congratulations, guys.
Dangerous Dakota Ditcheva fans, let her know how you feel.
The monster that is developing outside of the UFC is Dakota Ditcheva, the violent Cinderella that Lorosenko recently begged Dana White to sign. She is a violent Cinderella, said Lorosenko. Take her to the UFC as soon as you can. This isn't hype. This serves as a severe cautionary tale for all female UFC competitors. Dakota Ditcheva is not simply undefeated. She's not hurt, 10-0. Completion opponents act as if it's personal, even though she hasn't even joined the UFC yet. While UFC fans are screaming for a breakout female star, Dakota is quietly building an empire in the PFL and eliminating everything that gets in her way. Lorosenko, a highly renowned and esteemed figure in mixed martial arts, merely ignited the controversy on camera, no filter. She also neglected to bring up a UFC star. She went with Dakota Ditcheva. That's huge. Lorosenko. For me, it's Dakota Ditcheva. She is a violent version of Cinderella. That remark alone would be a huge blow to the UFC women's roster. When your own team asserts that your best player isn't even signed, you have problems. Therefore, why hasn't Dakota signed the contract? Easy. She's too smart. She knows how valuable she is and isn't signing a lousy UFC contract just to get attention. The opportunity to cross-promote with them is yours.